We need an organ playing right now.
Oh, that was really loud.
We are on. You never know.
We're so close.
You won't go wrong with it. No. Or like a bell tower. Last time. Yeah. We're doing all the work ourselves.
All right, it is 5:30. We are going to go ahead and get started. So first up is our Pledge of Allegiance.
I didn't need any help.
Okay, we will start with introductions, and we are going to start with Mrs. Von Koenig.
Lori Von Koenig.
Scott Allen.
Bill Scaletta.
Ethan Beckrow.
Rachel Wade.
Greg Eating.
Griffin Ott.
Kevin Bushu.
Right, next up is approval of our agenda for tonight's meeting. So board members, you've had a chance to look at what is on our agenda. If there are no questions or comments, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next up is the approval of our consent action items, including minutes from our February meeting and financial statements and bills. If there are no questions or comments, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
And this is a roll call vote. Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Dr. Beckrow?
Aye.
Mr. Scaletta?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Von Koenig?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And for all those of you who are wondering why Mr. Bushu didn't vote, we will get to that in a moment. But up first is the reason that I think most of you are probably here, is some good news about our school. So Mr. Eating, what do we have this evening?
I think we have a couple of teachers and some students from Stewart Elementary here, although they seem to be, I don't know if they're students or are those like
It's like famous
professional celebrities or something going on here.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for letting us be here tonight. So this was really hard because there's so much great stuff happening at Stewart, but we narrowed it down to two things. It's taken all evening. So we are going to showcase the Wax Museum, super exciting, and our Blue Ribbon Challenge. So I want to thank teachers, Janine Harrison, Becky Clemens, and where is Pat Wright of the third grade team, because they've done amazing work for this, and then I'm going to let them take it away.
Okay, we're going to start out with giving you all an invitation. Our Wax Museum takes place this Friday, and you're all invited. And we're gonna do a little demonstration, so I'd like all the students here at the Wax Museum to come on up. And they're going to take their position. Our Wax Museum takes place in, welcome. Right here. What we do with each character, we are in the gymnasium at Stewart. And each character has a nameplate. This is Colonel Don Alpro, and he's represented by his grandson.
Awesome.
Stevie.
Awesome.
Oh, great grandson.
Oh.
Yes. And one thing that you will not notice when you put down the nameplates is when this takes place in the gymnasium, the kids sometimes have display boards and they have desks. We have Stevie did bring some props that he wanted to make sure everybody did see. And he will have this on display. These are Don's medals that he wanted to make sure were right up here. And this will be on display at Stewart.
Awesome.
And we'll put it right here. And one thing I want to make sure I let everyone know, this is good news. This is super, super exciting for us. But all the schools do it. Every third grader in the district does this. Hollywood had a phenomenal Wax Museum last week where every third grader participated. I think Roosevelt has theirs at the end of the month, but we happen to have ours this Friday, which is super exciting. You all have a program there, and one thing I put in that program, there's a movie link, and if you can't make it this Friday, you're all invited, but if you can't make it, that movie link is from last year's Wax Museum, and I am going to replace it with this year's Wax Museum. So keep that QR code, and you will be able to see this year. Now, one thing, all these figures, and they're waxed right now. We invite the entire school, everyone's invited, but they're waxed until someone pushes their button. and then they come to life, and they get a chance to talk, give a little speech about what makes them special. This is a culminating activity for all the schools after months, 6 weeks of research. You want to add that back?
Yeah, I mean, they read like a chapter book or any type of book or trade book. They do their reading first, they then transfer their reading and what they've learned to a page and outline. And then they learn how to take things from the outline and turn them into paragraphs, a 5-paragraph biography. And that is the culminating.
Yes. And we have these on display during the Wax Museum, and the kids did just a fabulous job. And in the back, we did a writing celebration today where they each had a peer review, but we keep blank copies for the people coming through the museum. They get to do also a quick review. So it's really exciting, and I think we're ready. Kids, are you ready? Yes. Okay. Would anyone like to push a button? Any volunteers come up? Okay, Mr. Benro, you go. We made them, and they're like, you can tap it with your foot, or if you want to get down and really touch it, you can do that too.
Do anyone want or do you want?
You know, okay, something interesting too, and I passed out a lot of programs. We do it by a timeline, so each class has their own timeline, starting with the earliest birth date, working its way forward, so it becomes educational, and the classrooms work on that. So we are going left to right. If you want to start, no, I mean we're going a little backwards right now. Captain Smith, yes.
Hi, my name is Edward John Smith. I was most famous for my role at the helm of the Titanic. Did you know my last words were, "I'll follow the ship"? Sorry, I got to get back to my ship.
All right. The next one here.
Hello, I'm Serena Wells. I'm famous for being one of the best African Americans to play pro tennis. Did you know that I have 9 sisters, 4 are half sisters? Starting off to go return as 5. Chief handicap of the blind is not blindness, but the attitude of seeing people toward them. Hi, I'm Helen Keller. I'm famous for learning to communicate while being blind and deaf. Bye, I need to go get my degree from Radcliffe College. People who die early must be needed in heaven. If you don't know me, hi, I am Don Osbro, founder and president for 11 years for Us We Forgive. If you may excuse me, I need to get back to my meeting.
Way to go.
Don't forget, dump your plump too.
Any questions before we transition into our second?
Do you know roughly when this started? Because I remember
I know.
I had a young person in the Wax Museum a few
Yes.
years ago. And see our future leaders here. I imagine this is going on.
It's probably 15 to 20 years. Yes, and every year it just changes, but it's funny because we can all remember our former students and who they portray.
Yeah.
And when the seniors come through walking on that last day of school, they will tell you, I remember 3rd grade and who I portrayed. And it's really just a great thing. This is definitely a memorable moment. So,
And teachers get to know everyone because we proofread and listen to them, so it's really interesting.
yes.
I have a question for Stephen. Stephen, was it fun to represent your great-grandfather? He was a very, very influential and special man. And I'm proud of you that you're doing that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now for this second group, we have another handout. Do you have it, Ms. Clemens? Becky? Yes. Do you have the second handout? Okay. Yes. Now I'd like the 3 boys to come up. We're really excited. Now this is something that's unique to Stewart. We have a blue ribbon challenge. We purchased the program Study Island for our school, and I know Jason, you know this too. And with the InStep coming up in April, we're going to be taking it around April 16th at Stewart. We are doing a little twist on it, and we purchased this program called Study Island that gives kids practice with answering some test questions on the computer, especially now that we're one-to-one at the elementary. This year has been just fantastic to do this, and the kids are super, super excited. And I'm gonna let the kids tell you a little bit about it. You can see they're all dressed up in sports gear, so we'll let them talk.
We are very excited about the Blue Ribbon Challenge at Stewart. Students in 3rd through 5th grade are challenged to earn all their blue ribbons before April 15th. We have learned that just like in sports, the more you practice, the better you get. We are practicing solving math problems on the computer, so when it comes to game day, the M-step, we will be prepared and ready to hit a home run. There are 39 blue ribbons that we are challenged to earn. Each ribbon focuses on a different math concept. We are all learning so much. The students who complete this challenge by April 15th are invited to a super fun playground party on May 15th. As 3rd graders, we are practicing a lot. Our teachers call it spring training. To reward us for all our hard work, our teachers are talking us to watch the South Bend Cubs on May 22nd. Go Cubs. There are already 8 students who have completed this challenge. Every student has earned some ribbons. We are hoping that everyone completes this challenge and will be more confident on day 2.
We started this last year, and we did go to the baseball game. We take them down to South Bend as a field trip, and that was just a lot of fun. Mr. Eating came with us, and it was just an award. And really, we started this just in 3rd grade last year, and I will tell you, the 3rd graders were so much more confident. You know, when you get kids coming, oh, it's M-step, oh, it's ACT, SAT, whatever the test is. But I'm telling you, these kids came and they were so excited to take the test, and they did fantastic. So we extended this challenge up to the 4th and 5th grades, and it's been just really, really exciting. And these 3 boys right here are you guys can stand up one more time. Go if you want to introduce yourself, you can. We have Max, Luke, Dala, and they have Dea. They are the first 3 to earn the blue ribbons for 3rd grade. So they are.
Wow.
Great good news.
Yes. I remember meeting Dr. Beckrow years ago when he first moved to town.
15.
15 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
so 15 years ago, I love this program called Study Island, and it was summertime, and he was moving and coming to Stewart, and we had a big summer challenge for Study Island, and that was the first time. His kids were very, very involved, and they got all their blue ribbons that summer and started the school year ready, so.
They were in your class 15 years ago, and now my son's graduating from college, so
I know.
thank you for a great start.
I know. Thank you. Thanks for all. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stuart. Way to go.
I wish we could do this for our whole meeting.
I know. We
Yeah.
probably can. We can. We also have some wrestlers in the back I can see. Mr. Quinn. This is pretty cool. Not too many kids get a chance to do what these guys did. So congratulations. Here we go.
Hello, Coach Quinn, also a chemistry teacher at the high school, but the head wrestling coach. And this year, you know, there was a lot to celebrate about our season. First and foremost, we have 3 of our remarkable young men here, all of which were state placers this year. Brady Baker taking 3rd at 120, Cole Lausch taking 8th at 126, and then Pilot Swab taking 5th at 126, 106 pounds. So we went to the state tournament with 7 qualifiers, which is up there for our team, and coming home with 3 place winners, all of which will be returning next year. The real reason why I wanted to bring these young gentlemen in front of you today is not only because their efforts on the mat, but 2 of which are academic all-state. And I'm sure the 3rd one would be if we recognize freshmen. They have earned the cumulative GPAs to earn that recognition, and I believe the freshmen will next year as well. So these guys do a lot of wrestling throughout the year. They're dedicated on the mat and in the classroom, and we're just really grateful to have this opportunity to represent Lakeshore, and I wanted to bring that to you guys today. They are open to questions.
What age did you start?
5 years old.
I was about 4 years old.
5 years old.
And you're not talking 5 like on the like living room floor with your brothers or anything. This is like the real deal. All right. Yeah. All right.
What is one of the biggest lessons that you have learned by being a wrestler?
I would probably have to say discipline. Discipline is just on the mat and off. It takes a lot to make weight and then compete, and nutrition to be your best.
I would say to always have confidence in whatever you do. If you have confidence, you can do it.
I'd say always having confidence and like knowing that you're never out of something. You can always come back.
Cool.
Yeah. Other questions?
Congratulations. Yeah.
All right, our wrestlers and our friends from Stewart are more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you are also welcome to leave now if you would prefer to do that. And we will not take offense. Now is a great time.
Thank you, guys.
Such a fun age.
Third grade is the best.
How are you? No. Oh my gosh.
Jake's awesome.
I didn't know
Working on
that.
that wax museum stuff.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
Kelly cutting the yarn for all the.
You did such a beautiful job. Your mom is very, very important to our family. She's the best teacher. Did you know that?
All right, continuing on with our meeting. Superintendent informational report from Mr. Eating.
All right. This is the last superintendent's report before spring break, which kind of is an interesting thought process. The weather's been great over the past several weeks, even great today because we started spring sports today. It was awesome. Our bond projects are going really well. This past week, I was at Roosevelt when the crew started taking down one of the playground structures, which caused actually quite a ruckus. This is happening at all the elementaries, and it's fun to see the kids and their excitement for these changes. Sometimes too much excitement. The vote for our sinking fund renewal is coming up in May. Absentee ballots will be coming out near the end of this month. We are sending out a mailed flyer to remind people about the sinking fund renewal and to explain what our sinking fund does. A sinking fund is used to pay for yearly maintenance projects like roofs and HVAC upgrades. This fund also allows us to both plan ahead for routine maintenance and to have funds when things come up, kind of like a savings account for a homeowner. For example, this past winter, a pipe within our boiler loop broke at the middle school and actually caused a lot of HVAC issues. The sinking fund was used to cover that break. We are also on schedule to get input from our entire community on the development of a new strategic plan for the district. Chelsea Martinez from Mesa is facilitating a process that includes several board members and administrators. This core group will be using the input from the community to develop goals and action steps as part of the overall strategic plan. More information will be coming out soon, including in the Lakeshore Light at the end of the month. And finally, I have some great news to share about our amazing students. The high school musical just finished with Newsies, the musical. It was a great show and highlighted some extremely talented students. I saw it last night or yesterday afternoon. Awesome show. 7 of our wrestlers, just like you saw a few minutes ago, 7 of our wrestlers ended up making out to the state tournament. And like you saw tonight, Pilot Swab, Brady Baker, Jolene Coyer, and Cole Lausch, Vernon Riggins, Braden Barrio, and Andrew Byerly were all of our state qualifiers. And placing at the state were Brady, Pilot, and Cole. It was a great year for our wrestling team. The robotics team is in the middle of their season. They recently competed in the tournament at Berrien Springs and finished in first place. And over the weekend, they competed at St. Joe and finished in third place. And one thing not in the report is that they are currently in first place in the state of like 2,800 teams in the state. They're currently in first place based on point values. So pretty exciting. I know they're making a great run at the state tournament and then at Worlds hopefully after that. And then moving on to the next item of business on the report is our board member vacancy. And I thought this would be a great opportunity right now to highlight Mr. Bushu, who's over here to my left, and the work that he has done on our school board. I thought every board member can have a chance to say a few words about Kevin. I'll just simply say that when you're a young superintendent coming in, well, sort of young, superintendent coming in to his first superintendent job, and you have somebody on the board like Kevin, who, this is Kevin's 15th year right now. I think going to be finishing up 15 if he were to stay on for a couple more months. But it's something to learn from somebody like that in my position, who knows the community well, who's able to speak to things and connect you with other people in the community. I think a lot of people think of Kevin as the guy who is really involved in athletics, and it's not that he isn't. But the other thing is that you don't know is Kevin's also just a Lakeshore person and loves our community and does amazing work for all of the students at Lakeshore. So that's my experience about Kevin, but I thought we could kind of go around. I don't want to steal your thunder, but we could.
Go for it.
All right.
I know you said you didn't want pomp and circumstance, but that is exactly what you're going to get. So just be ready.
I was a little nervous when I came on the school board because this was new to me. I didn't know what to expect. And Kevin was one of the first people that welcomed me. And I always knew you as the athletic person and the president of the.
We had our discussions.
Right. We had our discussions. But I didn't know the real you from what I expected. And you are such a warm gentleman. And as we sat across and we talked about kids, your heart is for all kids. And as I have a love for band, you have a love for football and for all sports. But the way that you talk about your own boys and the way that you talk about your family just captivated me and touched my heart because I didn't know that side. Yeah. And I want to tell you that you are a very, very smart gentleman. Mm-hmm. And when I listen to you talk about finance and school issues, I think about how much I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I hope that you will be a reference for us because I have enjoyed getting to know you, and I thank you for all the patience you've had.
Well, thank you. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Just a little south.
Well, Kevin.
Easy. Can we put a time limit on this one?
I think of everybody here. I've spent a lot of time with you comparatively just because of sports. We have a lot of similarities. We both are transplants to this community. We didn't grow up here. But you, served a lot of time with me at LYBSA. You did some stuff with football, Rocket football. So I've been through this losing Kevin before. And what I'll say to that regard is that he leaves some very big shoes to fill for anybody coming behind him. Not that this community is a great community and there will always be somebody to step up and do things, but I can't, go without saying that those shoes can't be filled. There's just certain things that you bring to the table that not everybody can. So today I was thinking about, what did I want to say? I told you my goal was, kind of to make you cry is what I'd like to do. But, one thing we've always talked about I know Rachel and I think the board's words matter. So I started thinking about that, and the word Bushu, it's a name, but it's a word. And what does that encompass? So to me, the very first thing is Lancer. You are the epitome of this community when it comes to sports, the school, the kids, anything. You just bleed the red for this school. You always have. You're a servant, dedicated, inspiring, and charismatic. You have done a great job over these 15 years just representing this district. You've taught me all of those things, and I hope to just be, close to you on any of those things that you've taught me over the years. For a lot of people that don't realize, I'm kind of on this board because of Kevin. Having worked with him for years, there was a need. We were just talking, and I couldn't let him down. I said, yeah, I'm in. If there's a need, I'll be there for it. So kind of going back to, words matter. Those words describe you, but there's more words that mean more to me. And I think to your family, as Lori said, you have 4 of the greatest young men I know. I've been very blessed to call your family my family. But all the sacrifices that Kelly and the boys have had to make over the years for you to do all the things you've done. But words that matter to me about you that I think describe Bushu: son, husband, father, most importantly to me, brother and friend. So thank you for all your years, Kev.
Thanks.
There's a box of
That was
Kleenex
a lot
over
nicer
there
than I
if we need
expected.
it.
I was waiting for the roast.
Share the other stories later.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep it PG.
I always like to find a quote that fits you, and I found one from Robert Louis Stevenson. So let me share this with you. That man is a success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained respect of the intelligent men and women and the love of children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who leaves the world better than he found it, who never lacked appreciation of earth's beauty or failed to express it, who looked for the best in others and gave the best he had. That's Kevin. And I want to thank you for letting Kelly stay on the LAF board. Another one thing about our board that I've always appreciated, this was the 4th district I worked for. The first district was an 18-member board with 9 priests and 9 lay faculty, and it was chaos. And then I had another board that was 4-3 votes split all the time. And then I left another board that got recalled and had 4 new board members. So I came here and I think I've died and gone to heaven. So, but you've been great at maintaining the professionalism of the board, and I want to thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, I definitely want to give Kevin a big thank you as well. And, when I joined the board, kind of like what Mrs. VK was saying, we had such great leadership, and I kind of gravitated towards you. I learned so much. My first term, 6 years, I always called myself number 7 because that's, in seniority, that's what I was. And I just kind of sat back and I watched and I learned. And so I was watching you for those years, and you taught me a lot. And then I can't thank you enough. I'm thinking right now, it was 4 years ago this week that we were in the admin building.
Yeah.
Were you still teaching at the time?
Called me.
Remember, we were debating, it was Monday, should we, shouldn't we, maybe approve the band trip to spring break, but maybe with an asterisk. Later that day, some things happened, and by Wednesday, we were in Mrs. Perkins' AP history class, sadly having to cancel a trip to Germany, and then by Friday, March 13th, kind of the world went upside down. And so I never would have gotten through the pandemic without the incredible support that this board gave me. And specifically, we had a lot of one-on-ones. The board, we always, when we're a body, we operate in public. And so when you can reach out to someone in one-on-one or in a dyad or triad, I'm really proud of where we are right now, looking back 4 years later, and we wouldn't be here without you. So can't thank you enough. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
I don't know if you remember when we met. It was about 10 years ago, and I was working at the fire department, and the chief told me there was this guy coming in to pick up some hoses, some old grass rig hoses, and he was taking them to the baseball field, and it was Kevin Bushu. And I'd heard this name rattled around for a lot of years, and I finally got to meet the legend that day. And
I brought the wife with me.
you did. Bring that. She was looking for some firefighters.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that day, I got to meet you and see you in action and see how you were a whirlwind that day, and picking up the hoses and getting them over to the baseball fields and tending to 16 different things, but doing them all very well and with excellence. And you know, over the years, you've been involved in so many different aspects of this school and touched so many different places. And every place you've touched, you've done it with excellence. And that's something that, you know, Jason just touched on with COVID. We had so much going on, and I constantly looked to you and talked to you and called you and asked your opinion, because I knew what advice you gave me would be excellent. And I thank you for doing that, for being there for me. And I know all of these other board members, you've been there for us, and you've been a leader and a friend and somebody we knew we could count on. So thank you so much. We're glad you're not going very far, and we hope to see you around.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I just have one page of written comments, and you're going to hear a lot of reoccurring themes, so no surprises here. Kevin Bushu used to scare the heck out of me. Both his presence and his persona are powerful, imposing, and impossible to ignore. When he speaks, people listen. Simply say his name to almost anybody in town, and it carries weight. It means something. Might actually be more accurate to say that he didn't scare me, but I was certainly intimidated by him. Intimidated, yet kind of captivated. I always wanted to get to know him, because certainly someone as revered and influential as him had to be worth knowing. And get to know him I did. And when I did, what I learned is that the real man was actually far more impressive than I had even imagined. Similar to what Mr. Allen said, Kevin didn't grow up around here, yet he is amongst the small handful of people whose very name is almost synonymous with Lakeshore. Name a sports booster group or community athletic association, and he has served on their board. Talk to almost any teacher or business leader in the community, and they'll say great things about him. He's smart and strategic, opinionated and outspoken, compassionate and connected, insightful, and a bit of an instigator when necessary. He's also honest and genuine. Ask him a question and he'll give you an authentic answer, even if he knows it's not the answer you really want to hear. He also strongly believes in giving credit where credit is due. I've always believed that the mark of a truly emotionally intelligent leader is their ability to say, "Good point," or "I hadn't thought of it that way." I appreciate and deeply respect how often Kevin says both of those things. One of my favorite memories of Kevin happened early in my term on the board, after one of the very first expulsion hearings I had to participate in. I had been in awe of how he handled the situation. He spoke to the student and family firmly, making sure they knew the gravity of what had happened, and that our board had to maintain an unwavering dedication to ensuring the safety of all of our students. But he was also kind, imploring the student to use this as an opportunity for a second chance, a new beginning, helping him see that this didn't need to be the end of the road, just a bump along the way. I emailed him after that to thank him for what he had taught me in that moment. He responded by saying that he was just following the example that had been given to him by past board members like Mark Whitwam and Fred Welch, giving credit where credit was due. Kevin has been strong and steadfast during some of this board's most tumultuous times. His dedication to this district has been remarkable and his impact immeasurable. I'm really going to miss having Kevin on this board. And you know what? I'm not scared of him anymore. In fact, I stopped being scared of him the minute I met him, because he's just that kind of guy. But I am better. I think we all are better for having been able to work with him. Our students, staff, and entire community truly owe him a debt of gratitude, which will make him uncomfortable to hear me say, because he's just that kind of guy too.
Thanks.
as always, we're giving you the last word.
Wow. How much time do I have?
5 minutes.
I don't know who that guy is you just described, but yeah, start the timer. No, obviously, end of an era for Kelly and I. You know, in 2000, we were young parents, and our oldest, Josh, was getting ready to go into kindergarten the next year, and we were both kind of working up this direction, and we decided that we were going to move up this way to either Lakeshore or St. Joe. Did our research, both fantastic districts, right? Couldn't really go wrong, and a friend recommended go visit, see if you feel anything. So we did. We visited both districts and walked out of those visits and looked at each other and said, I know where we need to be. Kelly said, I know where we need to be. It was here. And it wasn't, I can't really put my finger on any one particular thing other than it just felt right. It felt like home. It felt like some place where they wanted us to be involved. And that was our goal. You know, talk about getting emotional. As I'm sitting here listening to some of these words, that's words that describe my dad at his funeral a couple months ago. That was my hero, you know, and that's part of the reason, we're moving to Kelly's dad's house. We lost him in August. We lost my dad in January. So it's been a rough few months. So we're moving to her house, and that's unfortunately out of district. So thus why I have to leave the board. But that decision we made in 2000 to move here was the best decision we could have possibly made for our family. You know, our boys were lucky to have a phenomenal district to grow up in. We were blessed to have a community that welcomed us with open arms. And we dove in, and dove in, and dove in. So 23 years later, here we are. And it's the end of an era for us. It's a new chapter. But, I can't leave without some thank yous. Obviously, Kelly and the boys. Being the son of a school board member or the spouse of a school board member with some of the stuff we've gone through, especially during COVID, was not easy. They never once wavered, never once, always supported, would ask questions when I couldn't answer, even though I wanted to. When I couldn't answer, they understood. So I couldn't have done it without them. The community for trusting me to serve this long on a board is an honor. The current and former board members, I've learned something from each one of you. You mentioned Fred and Mark, and that was it. It was really, I learned, I'm like, look, this is a well-oiled machine. How does it work? How do they function? What kind of lens do they look through? And I learned from them. And I've tried to pass it along now that I'm the old guy. Administration, holy cow, we had some phenomenal administrators. We've had a complete turnover. And we're blessed with phenomenal administrators. 3 great superintendents to work with. Had a bump in the road in the middle, but we took care of that. Not very many districts can say that, to hit a home run on 3 of them like we have. And then most importantly, the staff and students. When I look back on my time here, at the end of the day, that was always the lens I tried to look through. And during those tough times, COVID and budgets and everything that we've been through over my 15 years, that was always the lens I came back to. Is this the right thing for the district for all students? And that's not an easy thing to do. Because sometimes it wasn't maybe exactly what I thought personally, or maybe even what my family thought. But it was what was best for the district. And I guess that's, as I leave, that's the challenge I throw out to you, to anybody that follows in my footsteps, is always look through that lens before you make the decision. Get all the information and look through that lens. Don't let your emotions drive your decisions. We've been blessed to have boards that have done that, and it's remarkable. I've been on a lot of boards, and through all of these years, I can honestly say I've served with every person on this board looks through that lens. And that's very, very rare, and it's very special. And I hope the community and everybody appreciates that, because I think sometimes that goes unnoticed, and it's not an easy job. So with that, it's been my honor and my privilege, and I'm sure going to miss it. But I'm a phone call away and a couple miles down the road. So we'll be around, but thanks for having me, and it's been a great ride.
Thanks, Kev.
Yep. And thanks for having the extra meeting so I could hit the,
The 250?
Yeah.
250 meetings.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, as a board member. So, awesome.
Everything after this just feels really anticlimactic now.
It's kind of
Thanks for putting me right after that.
Yeah, yeah. Board of Education reports. Mr. Ott, would you please share the report from Administrative Affairs? Oh,
Sure.
did you say- hold on.
Just announce, because the position is open until the 15th, is that right?
Yes, yes. So we do have the vacancy to fill, and the application to apply for that position is on our website and open until the end of the day on Friday, the 15th.
Yep, it's been open for a week already.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Okay, sorry, Griffin, go ahead.
No, you're good. The Administrative Affairs Committee met on Tuesday, February 27th. Present at the meeting were Lori Von Koenig, Kevin Bushu for his 248th meeting, Greg Eating, and myself. The committee discussed the change in leadership at Stewart. The upcoming board seat will be open when Kevin and his family move, as well as some staffing situations throughout the district.
Thank you. Mr. Scaletta, would you please share the report from the Policy Committee?
Certainly. The Policy Committee met on Thursday, March 7th. Present at the meeting were Scott Allen, Greg Eating, and myself. The committee discussed policies related to graduation requirements, Neola upcoming spring updates, and the eminent board seat that will be open when Kevin and his family move.
Thank you. Personnel, we have a couple of things. Mr. Eating.
yes, Amy Deloria, first grade teacher at Hollywood, has announced her retirement effective at the end of June after dedicating an amazing 34 years here.
She was there when I was there.
Yes, she has been an excellent educator, and Hollywood won't be the same without her. We wish her the very, very best. And then Carol Fecky has been appointed as the permanent principal at Stewart Elementary. This decision came after a period of interim leadership during which Ms. Fecky demonstrated exceptional skills, dedication, and garnering overwhelming support from the school staff. So we had 100% thumbs up as we met with every school staff member that was available to meet with. So it was excellent.
Excellent. All right. So we do need a motion to approve the employment of Mrs. Fedke.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to overnight trips.
I received a request from the CTE nursing instructor Savannah DeVries for 18 students to attend the HOSA state competition in Traverse City from April 17th through 20.
Board members, any questions?
Also used to mean Hugh O'Brien school, back in the
No,
day.
it's
so this is
Health
different now.
Occupations Students of America. There you go.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on to school of choice action. Mr. Eating.
On an annual basis, the board needs to take action concerning involvement in the Schools of Choice program. Tonight, I am recommending that we continue our participation in the program on a limited basis for the 24-25 school year. I ask the board to give the administration the authority to determine the number accepted at each grade level as the enrollment projection for next school year becomes clear.
Board members, any questions or discussion? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to public comment. We did not have anyone register for public comment, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then our next act is we are going to go into closed session for the purpose of student disciplinary matters. So we will complete all of that and then come back into open session to close the meeting. So after we accept a motion to go into closed session, I will thank you all for being with us for tonight's meeting. So I would accept a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Support.
And this is a roll call vote. So Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Dr. Beckrow?
Aye.
Mr. Scaletta?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Von Koenig?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you all for being here tonight.